What if I told you an egg was never meant to become both? It could hatch into a chick, or it could end up on someone's breakfast table, but it couldn't become both. That isn't tragic. It isn't unfair. It's simply what it means to become something. But the strange thing is, this isn't really about an egg. It's about us.
Somewhere, there's a version of you that never existed. They took the other job, they stayed in the relationship, they moved across the country, they never moved at all. They said yes when you said no.
Sometimes you imagine them. You wonder if they're happier, more successful, more fulfilled. Maybe you've even caught yourself thinking, that should have been me. I know I have. Here's the part that quietly changes everything. You'll never get to meet them, and they'll never get to meet you. Because the moment you made one decision, every other version of your life quietly disappeared. You weren't just choosing one life, you were saying goodbye to every other one. Imagine you're standing at a fork in the road. One path disappears into the mountains, the other follows the ocean. You choose the mountains. Years pass. Some days are incredible, some are lonely, some make you question everything. Then, one afternoon, you catch yourself wondering about the ocean. You imagine the sunsets, salty air, the slower pace. You begin telling yourself, maybe that would have been the better life. But here's what your mind never imagines: the storms, the loneliness, the days you would have wanted the mountains instead. Without realizing it, you're no longer comparing reality to reality. You're comparing reality to perfection. And that's the trap. Not regret, not even FOMO, perfection. Because the life you never lived never had the chance to disappoint you. The relationship you never started never had arguments. The career you never chose never burned you out. The city you never moved to never became ordinary. Those lives remain beautiful for one simple reason: they never became real. You're comparing your real life to a movie that was never filmed. And somehow, the movie in your head never has bad scenes. For a long time, I thought I was grieving my past. I wasn't. I was grieving a future that only existed in my imagination, and those are two very different things. Reality has bills, failure, uncertainty, ordinary Tuesdays. Imaginary lives don't. Psychologists have actually studied this for decades. It's called counterfactual thinking. Your brain constantly imagines alternate versions of reality. Originally, that was incredibly useful. What if we'd gone another way? What if we'd left sooner? Those questions helped humans survive. But your brain has one flaw. It doesn't always know when the lesson is over. Sometimes it keeps replaying a decision long after there's anything left to change. Not because replaying the past helps, but because your mind mistakes replaying for progress. And slowly, almost without noticing, you begin spending more time living inside imaginary lives than the one you're actually living. There's an old man sitting on his porch. Sometimes he wonders what would have happened if he'd accepted a job offer in another city 50 years ago. Maybe he would have been wealthier, maybe life would have been easier, maybe he would have become someone greater. Then the front door opens. His wife walks outside, a little boy runs across the yard laughing, his grandson. And for just a second, everything becomes painfully clear. If he'd taken that other job, this porch wouldn't exist. That laugh wouldn't exist. This family wouldn't exist. The life he'd spent years questioning was also the life that quietly gave him everything he loved. The other life wasn't necessarily better, it was simply different. Maybe that's the hardest part about growing older. Not realizing that life closes doors, accepting that it has to. Imagine a world where every possibility stayed open forever. Every career, every relationship, every city. Nothing would matter because nothing would ever truly be chosen. Choice only has meaning because something is left behind. People look at it and ask the wrong question. Which outcome would have been better? A chick or breakfast? But the egg never asked that question. It was never meant to become both. It wasn't failing by becoming one. It was simply becoming what only it could become. Maybe we're not so different. There will always be another version of you. Living somewhere else, loving someone else, building another life. Maybe they're happier, maybe they aren't. You'll never know. And maybe you were never supposed to. Because while you've spent years imagining their life, someone else has probably spent years imagining yours. The family you built, the opportunities you were given, the ordinary moments you learned to overlook, the life you almost convinced yourself wasn't enough. Maybe the goal was never to choose the perfect life. Maybe the goal was simply to stop mourning the lives that were never yours. Because peace doesn't come from proving you chose the perfect path. It comes from finally accepting that there never was one. There were only different paths, different joys, different sacrifices, and one life that was always waiting for you to fully live it. Remember the egg? It was never meant to become both. Neither were you. Until next time, stay curious and a little less clueless.